Okay, so are you ready to really get into From?
I'm so ready.
All right, so Season 3, Episode 4. This is a big one, and we're going deep.
Deep
And we're
dive.
talking like full immersion here.
Wow, that's fantastic. It's going to let us break down everything, every sound cue, every overlapping word, the things you just don't catch on a regular watch.
Yeah, you pick up on things you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And one thing that hits you right away is the tension, man. The food shortage. It's like a ticking time bomb.
Absolutely. And it's not just what they're saying, it's how. Like when they talk about supplies running low, those hushed voices, the way they're avoiding eye contact, man, it just screams desperation.
It's heavy stuff. And speaking of heavy, poor Kenny, right? Blind, traumatized, and the sound design. They don't let you off easy.
Not at all. Every footstep, every creak of the house, it's amplified, you know? It puts you right there in his shoes, that feeling of vulnerability, the unseen threats everywhere.
Yeah, like the creatures weren't bad enough. But then, Boyd, he wants to capture one. I mean, talk about a bad idea, but what does that tell us about him?
It's desperation fueled by responsibility. You gotta remember, Boyd, he's all about action, protecting the town. But here, something's different. He's losing his grip. Nothing's working.
And you can see that in how he treats Kenny. Yeah, it's strained, almost like he's picking on him sometimes. But when Boyd risks it all to save Kenny, well, there's something else there, like loyalty, almost fatherly, you know?
Totally. Listen to Boyd's voice when he finds him. Gruff. Yeah, but underneath, there's this wave of relief.
Yeah.
And those last words to Kenny, "You'll never be alone." It's
Yeah.
chilling.
Right. I mean, on the surface, it's comforting, sure. But knowing this town, it's like a threat. Like someone's always watching Kenny messing with him.
It gets under your skin, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what this episode does so well. It blurs what's real. How can you trust anyone when you can't even trust your own senses?
Exactly. And then there's Jade.
Yeah.
Talk about fear, pregnant, all alone in this nightmare.
She's building walls, pushing everyone away, thinks she's protecting herself, the baby. But is she?
It's like she's trapped in her own horror movie, and it just
Yeah.
keeps getting worse. And speaking of worse, that scene with Christy and the bear trap, just listening to it.
The sound design, it's brilliant and terrifying. The snap of the trap, then Christie's cry, but then silence. Except for her struggling to breathe and that metal creaking. Pure horror.
And then, to find a talisman rigged to it, throws everything we thought about those things out the window.
Right. It's like the episode is saying, hey, remember those talismans you thought were protecting you? Maybe they're not so simple after all.
And just when you think the episode can't get any more unsettling, we're hit with Henry's search for the bottle tree.
Mm-hmm.
You listening, you've probably remembered this part. This isn't just any tree, it's a portal, a gateway to somewhere else.
And the episode reinforces this through sound. Remember the distorted music, the subtle echo that creeps in as Henry gets closer? It's like stepping into another dimension, and the audio cues tell us it's not a friendly one.
And that parallel to Miranda, Victor's mother, drawn to a similar tree before disappearing. Chills, man. It's like the show is piecing together a terrifying puzzle, and we're just starting to see the edges.
And who's holding a crucial piece of this puzzle? Tabitha. Let's talk about that tarot card reading. Just hearing her voice, the way it drops to a whisper as she lays down each card, it sends shivers down my spine.
Right. You pick up on the sense of foreboding, even without the visuals. And the way she talks about Jade's baby, how it's both a blessing and a curse, is classic From, leaving us with more questions than answers.
But that's where the real horror lies, wouldn't you say? Not knowing what to believe, who to trust. It's that uncertainty that eats away at you, just like it's eating away at the characters.
And while Tabitha is shrouded in mystery, we have the sheriff representing the opposite, blind optimism. His reassurances about finding a way home, they ring so hollow, especially when juxtaposed against the episode's events.
It's tragic, really. He's clinging to this naive hope, this denial of the true horror that surrounds him. He's a stark contrast to Henry, who's teetering on the brink of despair.
And that despair is amplified by the bracelet, right?
Yeah.
Identical to the one his wife made. Makes you question if this town is messing with his sanity or if there's a deeper connection to the outside world.
It's like the episode is holding a mirror up to our own fears. What if everything we hold dear, everything we believe to be real, is just an illusion?
It's that existential dread that makes From so effective. And this episode plays with that masterfully, especially with the way it ends. Henry running, convinced he's found his way back to his memories, only to end up right back where he started. It's a gut punch.
And that final shot, the one you only get in the visual version, the tree in the middle of the road, is it the bottle tree? Or is it something else entirely? See, even with the audio, you can feel that question lingering in the air. Like the episode doesn't end, it just seeps into your subconscious, leaving you with this unsettling feeling long after it's over. It really gets under your skin.
And that's the genius of From Right.
Yeah.
It's not just about jump scares. It's this, like, psychological torture. You know, the whole fabric of reality unraveling.
And it makes you think, would I be brave enough?
Right.
What would I do?
Would you be like the sheriff clinging to hope when everything's falling apart? Or would you just let the darkness take over like Henry?
Man, I don't know if I could handle that kind of pressure.
That's what I love about this show. It pushes you to confront those dark what-ifs.
For sure. And it does it through such incredible storytelling.
Absolutely.
I mean, the way this episode ties those individual struggles into the bigger mystery of the town, it's brilliant. Yeah.
We're dealing with fear, hope, the nature of reality itself.
Always the themes.
Huge, but it never feels forced.
No.
It sneaks up on you, all those layers.
Yeah.
You know, we're catching the nuances in the dialogue,
Mm.
the sound design, even just a well-placed silence.
Oh, yeah. So much is in the silences.
Speaking of things left unsaid, let's get back to Jade for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about how her fear is turning into distrust, but what does that say about motherhood in this show?
Right.
It's not exactly sunshine and rainbows.
Not at all.
It goes to some dark places with it, you know, the sheer terror of bringing a life into this world.
Especially this world.
Exactly. And then you add Tabitha's prophecy,
Oh.
and suddenly we're left wondering, what if this baby is the key to everything?
But what is?
Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
You don't know.
We just don't know. And that's the heart of it, right?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
That question of belief. When what's real and what's in your head starts to blur, who do you trust?
Wow.
What do you believe in?
It's a question that stays with you, you know?
Sure.
It's bigger than just the show. It's like real life.
Yeah.
How do we sift through all the noise, all the different opinions without losing ourselves?
It's a question for the ages and from it. It doesn't give you the easy answers,
Mm-hmm.
but it gives you a way to explore those dark corners of yourself.
That's it.
And it reminds you sometimes the scariest monsters aren't out there. They're right inside us.
Man, that's a thought.
Well said, as always. It's been a wild ride through from Season 3, Episode 4. So next time you're listening and you hear a noise,
Oh, no.
a twig snapping, or you get that chill down your spine,
Oh.
ask yourself, is it real or is...
From just messing with your head. I think I'm going to be sleeping with the lights on tonight.
Until next time, stay safe out there, everyone.